Good day, everyone. So today we shall be diving into taps and water supply system. We'll be understanding the essential component that deliver clean water and manage waste in modern building. So let's dive into this. Now, firstly, let's talk about what a tap is. What is a tap? As we see in the diagram, a tap is a valve controlling the release of liquid or gas. A valve controlling the release of liquid or gas. You could see that liquid here being released and is being released by a tap. So it's a valve that controls the release of either liquid or gas. It is made from materials like stainless steel, chrome, brass, nickel, and gold. That's what the tap does. It controls the release of liquid or gas. And we have three main types of taps based on the design. We have the ball taps. These ball taps use a hollow plastic or stainless steel ball over a rounded cover to control temperature and flow. That's how it works. So it makes use of hollow plastic or sometimes a stainless steel ball, either it is made up of plastic or a stainless steel, over a round cover so that you can regulate the flow of uh, water or liquid. All right. Another one is called the cartridge tabs. The cartridge tabs add lever control. This lever controls the plastic cartridge, as you can see here. This is the lever up here, and the cartridge is the one that moves up and down. Okay, so when it moves down, it goes gradually to restrict the flow of water. As you turn this lever clockwise or anti-clockwise, depending on the locking direction, you find out that it's going to reduce the flow of water as the cartridge is moving down. And when you turn it upward, it's going to allow more flow of water to come out of the tap. So that's the second type of taps that we have, the cartridge taps. And the third one is called the ceramic disc tap. This type of tap is made up of two ceramic plates slide over each other to regulate temperature and flow of water. As you can see here, so two ceramic are allowed to slide over each other. When they slide completely over each other, then the water completely stops flowing. But when you release gradually the sliding, when you take it up, okay, the water begins to flow. So these are the three major types of both taps, either ball taps, or the cartridge tap, or the ceramic disc tap. Aside from their types, we also have them based on their style. Okay, we have tap based on their style and the way they operate. We have the cross-head tap, the one that the lever is made up of cross-head, as you see, form of cross, and so that the user can easily turn either clockwise or anti-clockwise. All right, and then we have the lever tap, the one you just pull up or pull down, okay, and then the water either stop or begin to flow. So whichever type that you want to use, they are still dealing with compression and expansion. So when for that of cross-head tap, when you turn it and it begins to go down, it's gradually compressing, it's cooling down to reduce the space that will allow the flow of water. Okay, so compression tap work by spooling down to compress a rubber or neoprene washer against a metal seat, restricting water flow. So as you begin to turn this lever, okay, this cross-head lever now, begin to turn it, what happened there is that you begin to compress the rubber inside the tap, okay, which we call the washer, and this goes against the metal seat that eventually stop the water from flowing. Although this washer inside the tap gradually worn out and then with time it will need to be replaced. All right. So we now talk about the plumbing system components. Of course, we know that tap is one of the plumbing system components. So plumbing arranges and connect pipes, fittings, and machines that supply water and drain liquid waste from buildings. Without plumbing system component in a building, that building will be messed up with water and it will stink because water is not flowing. All right, so there is need for plumbing system for water to flow easily out and in to avoid smells, to avoid stinking, to avoid messing up the building. All right, so the first component of plumbing system is called the stopcock. What the stopcock does is to control water flow through supply pipes using a crutch handle turned clockwise or anti-clockwise. This is a typical example of a stopcock. So this is the handle here that can be turned clockwise or anti-clockwise so that when water is flowing, it can stop. Okay, pipe can be connected to the left, to the right, and to the left hand side. So this cock, once it is locked, the water that is flowing through the pipe will stop flowing. Okay, so usually it is connected to pipes so that the water can flow or can be controlled. Okay, we also have the drain cock. The drain cock is not far from the stopcock. The only difference here is that this drain cock is connected to water supply pipes to drain off water when needed. Okay, so this is connected to water supply pipe, while this one is connected to just pipes. Okay, not the one that is supplying. Okay, but just pipe that is connected to the water supply pipe. All right, but they do almost the same thing, almost the same design. And then we have the valve. The valve come in different style. So the gate valve, another type, what they do is to control the flow of water distribution in the pipe. Okay, so when you put a valve in the pipe, it helps to control the flow, just like the stopcock. The stopcock, the drain cock are all doing the work of water control. So the valve also does the same thing. Sometimes they are even used interchangeably the names, okay, but they all do the same function of controlling water. And then the last one that we have in the plumbing system is called the air bolt and the teeth. This one is distinct in the sense that it changes flow of water direction at 90 degrees, sometimes at 112.5 degrees, sometimes at 135 degrees, sometimes at 157.5 degrees. And then join three pipes at junction sometimes. You could see this one example of air bolt and teeth. So in this one, change water flow at 90 degrees because you could see that. So when water is flowing, water enters through this place and then turn and go 90 degrees to the other side. That's what air bolt and teeth component does in the plumbing system. Okay, so now we look at some domestic water pipeline system. What are the things that we can see in a domestic water pipeline system in our community? The first thing you will see in such system is the street main. These street main are known as underground pipes that distribute water to various outlets. You will not see this pipe openly. They have been dug under the ground and then begin to supply water to streets from one street to the other. Then after the street mains, we also have the compound entry pipe. This one is having a diameter of 30 millimeters and is connected to different compounds in the community. Then we have the water authority stopcock. This is buried in pits at least 80 centimeters deep. It's also there to control the flow of water. And of course, we have the storage tank. This is connected to kitchen sink, outside tap, and elevated tank. It's just to store water that is flowing from the pipe. Then lastly, we have the 22 millimeter pipe supply bath, water closet, basin, and hot water system from overhead tank. So this type of pipe are connected from overhead tank to all of these So all of this plumbing system, the water closet, that's the toilet, our basins, our hot water system in the bathroom, okay, all are connected using this pipe to an overhead tank that supplies the water. All right, so having said that, we can now look at the importance of the water storage tank. What is the importance of having a tank in the house? Everybody knows that when we have water stored in the tank, what it does essentially is to store water. Okay, is to store water. That's according to the name, to store water. Number two, variable demand. Water demand varies during the day from peak morning period to low evening demand. So by the time you have water stored in your tank, in your water storage tank, whether you need it more in the morning or you need water more in the evening, you always have access to the water because it's already stored. Another importance of water storage tank is that is lower pressure. It is distributed at low pressure, making leaks less serious than high pressure supply means. Water in the tank do not really supply water at high pressure. The water do not come out with high pressure. It releases the water with a low pressure. And with such method, you'll be able to retain more water in the tank, which will last longer. Which will last longer. And lastly, supply continuity. Essential when water authority cut off supply. You know, when government fail to supply water, that's when you know that the water storage tank has a very key role to play. So in the case where there is no more water being supplied by the water authority, then you have to fall back to the water storage tank. That's how important the water storage tank is for every user of water. So let's talk about another part of plumbing system, and that's the sinks and the basins. Of course, the sink is made from stainless steel, as you could see here. This is sink, or sometimes enamel steel. Okay, it's provided with pillar peep tabs depending on water supply pipe orientation. You could see that it has tap on it. Most of us have this type of sink in our various kitchen. So, what does it do? What the purpose of this sink? Number one, the overflow hole inside the sink prevent flooding if tap left open. You know, sometimes out of carelessness, we may forget to close our water. Maybe when the tank get empty, and then when water is now turned on again, it begin to flow. But with the presence of this sink, instead of this water from the tap to pour on the ground and get everywhere flooded, it goes straight into the sink, and the sink has hole in it where the water can pass through and be drained off. Another advantage of this sink is that it has stopper that create pool of water for washing. You know, inside the hole, the cover of the hole is called the stopper. By the time you cover the hole in the sink, you can easily create a pool of water with it, and then we use it to wash your plate and whatever you want to wash. Another important thing about this sink is that blockage cleared with plungers or wire ropes. Okay, when you probably are washing your plate and maybe the remnant of the food blocks the hole, you have nothing to worry about. Just get a plunger or a wire probe to remove those remnants from the hole, and then the water starts flowing again. So now the sink is not far from the wash basins. The only difference is that the wash basins are usually made of ceramic. You could see here, but they have almost the same component as the sink. While the sink is made up of stainless steel or enamel steel, the basins are usually made up of ceramics. However, they perform the same function just like the sink. So we now talk about another component of the plumbing, and that's the bath. The bath comes in different sizes. The bath is a container where you can sit down and have your bath. So it comes in different sizes and shape. It's also made up of enamel cast iron or acrylic plastic. Okay, so you can put cold or hot water inside the sink and enjoy it to have your bath. Then of course we have the showers. The showers are more economical with water because you could see that the water are coming bit by bit. Unlike the bath you will have to fill up this bath with water, and then after bathing you will then drain off that large amount of water that have been stored because it's no longer useful. But for the shower, you don't have to store any water anywhere. Just go straight under the shower and it cleans it off with your soap. So it is more hygienic as well because you don't have to stay inside the dirty water that you are bathing. So the shower is more economical with water than the bath, and it's more hygienic for body washing. Then we also have the water closet, the one we call our toilet. This is most important household plumbing component because everyone wants to uh, use the restroom after eating or after a long day. So it's most important household plumbing component. And the cistern, that the container that has the water, contain at least 2 gallons of water inside it. Okay, and then whenever we use it, we can now use that water to flush our feces or our urine. All right, and then let's talk about the hot water system and drainage. The hot water system provide warm water for bathing and brushing teeth. Especially during the cold weather. During the cold weather, you might want to have a warm bath. That's where the hot water system come into play. And usually it is achieved by installing electric water heating system, okay, in the bathroom. So hot water pipe to the bathtub and then the wash basin. So you don't have to begin to fetch water from the kitchen. Everything is already automatic. The water heating system is connected in the bathroom. All you need to do is just to turn on the switch, you get the water system on, warmed up, and then it is being sent into your bath, which is where you have your bath. Okay, and then we have the drainage system. This is essential for removing liquid waste from kitchen sink, bathtub, wash basin, and water closet. If there is no drainage system, all the dirty water we get from our bathroom, we have no place to go, and they will make our bathroom, our kitchen to stink. So it is the drainage system that help in taking water from our bathroom, our kitchen, from our wash basin down to where they are not needed. Okay, then we also have the soil pipe. The soil pipe is connected to the water closet to carry our feces down into uh, the soakaway. Then of course we have the gully. The gully are solid removed from busy trains. We have the septic tank. These are underground chamber with bacterial treatment. The septic tank is what we call our soakaway. Okay, so it's always underground where all our faces go to after we use the restroom. And we have the filter tank as well. These are aerobic bacteria with complete purification. Okay, so on this note, we'll be closing our lesson for today. I hope you have learned something about the water supply and the system. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.